Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joshua David Linney here. I'm a 40 native and Army veteran. I'm 46, and after high school, I enlisted in the U.S. Army and did 3 years. I did one tour overseas, an Operation Vigilant Warrior, and came back to find out I was no longer medically able to re-enlist for service. So I lost a green to gold scholarship I had qualified for. I wasn't able to do 20 years in service, so I decided to get out and come back to school here at UCF, Charge On Nights. And I did start college successfully. I took 15 hours. I took 18 hours. I petitioned the school to take 21 hours. I hit the dean's list. And about that time, the VA found out that I was using cannabis. And they told me if I didn't quit the drugs, they were going to take away my benefits. So I ended up having to quit using cannabis and start taking their prescriptions. They had me on benzos, they had me on opiates, they had me on antipsychotics, they had me on ADHD meds, they had me on blood pressure meds, they had me on mood stabilizers. It was pretty much everything you could think of that they didn't want me to take the cannabis. So I ended up having to drop out of college. Instead of getting my bachelor's in 3 years, wound up taking 11 years to go back 3 times to Orlando and finally graduate at UCF. And in that time, I racked up 2 DUIs and found myself in a lot of legal trouble. And it was only after about 20 years of pharmaceutical dependence at the VA that I decided to try to quit using the prescriptions. And it wound up landing me in the hospital with a seizure, and I almost had a stroke. So they did the IV benzos, the IV opiates, 72 hours. They had me completely loaded back up with the pharmaceuticals, and they discharged me. This was in August of 2017. I decided to go to the store and get gas in my car. And when I did, I saw CBD gummies. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they do. I just knew they were behind the counter and they were expensive, so they probably were going to do something. But I bought them and I took them and drove home. And I didn't even get 2 miles away from the store. And when it hit me, I knew I had found pharmaceutical independence. I knew I had found the thing that was going to free me from the benzos, because I felt better than I felt when I took 4 milligrams of Xanax, which is what I was on a day. And so in 6 weeks, I used CBD gummies to break a 20-year addiction to benzos. And then a couple months later, I got on medical cannabis in November. And in 90 days, I broke a 20-year addiction to opiates. And then 60 days later, I ran for mayor of the city where I grew up.
Stone vet, the stone vet, the stone vet. I hit the ground running when I'm invading your country. It's still with honor and discipline. Throw my guns like.
What's up, guys? Sergeant G here from the Stone Vet USMC, man. I'm glad you guys are here with me. It's the end of the week. The week has come to an end, man. I'm glad you guys are here hanging out with me, hanging out with us, and just enjoying the time together. You guys remember what it was like when it came to the end of the week? You were stressed out, whatever the hell. I mean, life happens, life sucks. And there's times where we're just like, what the fuck do I do now? I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Freaking money is hard. Freaking, I'm about to lose my house, about to lose this, about to lose that, man. And it sucks because life does happen. But I mean, the reason I do this show is because the camaraderie, right? This is one of the biggest things that we miss getting out of service is the camaraderie, having our brother to our left or to our right, man. What do you think about that story from Mr. Joshua David Linney? He's got a name that just flows together, man, perfectly. His parents knew what he was doing, what they were doing when they named him, man. What's going on,
shout
Joshua?
out to my mom.
All right.
I almost wound up David Patrick Linney the 4th. So, shout out to mom for stepping in.
Right. No lie. No lies. I saw a meme not too long ago that said, man, if you're a junior, your mama probably called your name out a couple of times while she was in the middle of doing something with daddy.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Man, it's like I tell you guys, man, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Like I tell you, make sure you hit that daggum subscribe button.
Follow,
so you knew. Follow, hit me up wherever I'm at, man. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I got a Twitter account, but I say a lot of political shit on my Twitter account, so you guys probably won't want to listen to that too much. But you know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys go and hit that subscribe button so you know when I got a new episode dropping, man. I got new episodes dropping every Wednesday and every Friday here. Before too long, they'll still be dropping, but we got some things working. There's some things going on with the Stone Vet, I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Raffle 180. Raffle 180, great medicinal grade CBD coming from the only FDA regulated lab in the Midwest. If you guys have ever looked for a medicinal grade CBD, like Josh was saying, man, that's how CBD is just the medicinal benefits. A lot of y'all have tried CBD and you guys said it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Lifesaver.
It's a lifesaver. You guys, what happened is that you probably weren't taking the proper medication, proper dosage of the CBD. It could have been too high. It could have been too low. Just like any medication, when you go to see a doctor, he gives you a medication, tells you to try it for a couple of weeks, come back to him, let him know, is it working or is it not working, so he can adjust it, right? The same thing with medicinal grade CBD. You know, my sponsor, Summer, over at Rafa 180, she's the CEO and founder of Rafa 180. You guys will see her on every Wednesday episode. I have her with her, hanging out with her and talking medicinal benefits and stuff of medicinal CBD.
Yeah.
And like I tell you guys, she is here to help you ensure that you get the proper dosage of the CBD that you're needing. That's why she works with you one-on-one. She has the intelligence, she has the knowledge of understanding the proper dosage of medicinal grade CBD. Telling you if you need to go higher, if you need to go lower. Do you need CBD versus CBG? Do you need CBG versus CBD and so forth?
Or CBN with your
Or
CBD.
CBN, you know what I'm saying? We actually carry a brand now. It's Sapphire that has CBN to help with the sleep, with those of us that have trouble sleeping. Joshua knows. Joshua is in the game. This is what I'm telling you guys. But remember, if you're looking for a medicinal grade CBD, go check out my sponsor over at rafa180.com. Check out the amazing products. There's new updates coming out on a weekly basis. If you have any questions, definitely check them out on Facebook at Rafa 180 and their website, rafa180.com. And if you want to email them, check them out, rafacbd@gmail.com. And remember, guys, they're supporting me here at the Stone Vet, and they can help make you live an amazing life, man. How you doing, Joshua, man? That's an amazing story you got there, brother. Like you said, you spent some time in the Army. I love you, Army guys. You guys love coming on the Stone Vet. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know?
Hey, yeah, man. Anything we can do to support everybody. You know, I love the podcast. I do my own podcast. I love to see veterans out there like yourself who are taking the initiative, who are putting stuff out in public, who are in front of the audience and not standing back behind the computer, silently typing stuff, but out there being vocal, bringing awareness. And, you know, we need more of our brothers and sisters to step up. I mean, you can be suicidal, you can be depressed, you can have anxiety, you can not have a job, you can not know what to do. You can still go out and raise awareness and be an advocate and talk to people and do what you do best, which is, you know, defend other people, defend yourself. And we spend so much time in the military defending everyone else on a mission, but we come back here and we don't even defend ourselves for ourselves. You know, we completely throw our hands up.
Absolutely, brother, and I completely agree with you. I mean, like you guys know, we are our own advocates. We have to speak up for ourselves. You know, so much time we spent in the military. Like I tell people, regardless, you spend 4 years, 14 years, or 40 years. Once you get out, it's like, what the fuck do I do now? I ain't got Sergeant G telling me, hey, we got to do this. This is a task for the day. This is a task for the week. This is a task for the month. Right. Now it's on us to have our own minds and speak our own minds and say, hey, what are we doing? What can I do?
And if you don't know what to do, volunteer. That's what you can do. Go volunteer somewhere. If you don't know what to do, go volunteer somewhere with an organization you believe in and help build something.
Absolutely. Because guess what? I didn't realize this, but I've had Travis Johnson on my show. He's a great Navy veteran. He's a great brother. Me and him, we talk on a regular basis, but he is known as the nonprofit architect. And he like tells people, he said, I have people coming to me saying they want to start a nonprofit. He says, don't start a nonprofit, dude. He said, go and help the nonprofits. Go and help them. He said, do you understand there's approximately about 22,000 veteran nonprofits in the U.S.? I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah. Veteran nonprofits. He said there's like 22,000 in the U.S. alone. He said, you just go out there and volunteer, help them grow. And that's the biggest thing. It's like Joshua was saying, man, if you're trying to figure out what your purpose is and what to do, volunteer your time, help these people that are trying to help us. Yeah. You know,
and you know what I find when I volunteer, and even not at my own organization, when I volunteer at somewhere like Team Rubicon or the Food Bank, or Team Red, White, and Blue. When I get out of myself, I completely forget the time I'm there that I have problems. And then when I leave, I'm stuck in my head again. And what does that tell me? I need to stay out of this fucking sick place. And I need to spend more time focusing on other people. I'm not saying don't show yourself self-love. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself. I'm not saying forego all your responsibilities. But if you got extra time bleeding around and you're just wandering around in circles, looking at the same post on Facebook 25 times a day, you probably should find something to put some time into. And it could be healthy for you where you feel better.
No, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing. It's what I always talk about. I said, we got them demons in our heads, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys understand. You guys know. You guys deal with the anxiety. You deal with the depression. You deal with the fear of what's next. What do I do now? How do I do this? How do I go about that, man? It's like I always say on my show, I said, it always happens when you're having a good time. The fucking demons decide to push that fucking box off the shelf and smack it down when you're having a good time with your friends and your family. You're like, why now? Why right now?
Sabotage.
What the fuck? You're sabotaging yourself. That's the biggest thing we do. We self-sabotage like a motherfucker.
Sabotage, 100%. Yeah.
We self-sabotage like a motherfucker, dude. But that's the biggest thing, you know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. Is what I try to tell people. Say you have to build your community around you. If you don't build your community around you with people who are advocating with you, who are on the same understanding of what your fight is in this life, then you're failing yourself. You're self-sabotaging yourself, because the only people that can help you are your brothers and sisters. I said, don't get me wrong. There's some brothers and sisters out there that want to screw us for whatever reason, because it's just genetics in their DNA, and they will screw us regardless of they're veterans or not. But you learn eventually. You have a feeling and you understand. You're like, okay, I like you. You're my brother. We signed that dotted line. Yeah, we're veterans together, but you're not eating at my table. Like you
can eat, just not with me.
Just not with me, right? Just not with me, you know.
Yeah.
And it sucks, Josh. It does suck. It just sucks, you know. Yeah. It sucks when that time happens and stuff like that. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? For me, for Joshua, I don't know how I met Joshua. He came across my Facebook feed.
Veteranpreneur Tribe.
Veteranpreneur Tribe. There you go. I love that tribe, dude. I love those.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
So great people out of there.
There's so many great people out there doing the things, you know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest things, like you said, is advocating for the plant, right? Understanding the medicinal benefits of the plant. And Mr. Joshua David Linney, actually, guess what? He's in the game. He's advocating, and he's in the game. Why don't you tell us a little?
And more than just the plant, advocate on your healthcare benefits, advocate on veterans issues at the federal level. We got all kinds of things, the bills on veterans issues, all the way down from healthcare to disabilities to housing, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I want everybody to focus on cannabis, but you know, when you become a cannabis advocate, I know a lot of cannabis advocates who only advocate for cannabis. They don't do anything but cannabis. And I'm scratching my head, like, if you're doing all that work and you're doing all the legwork and why aren't you talking about 4 or 5 things instead of just one thing when you get these people on the phone? Right. You know, so definitely use it as a launching pad. But if you're already going to be high and you're going to be chatty Cathy, man, you might as well rattle off a couple more things that are important, because those lawmakers are only going to vote on the things that they think are important to constituents.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. And that's what, you know what I'm saying? Some people who smoke, they can be chatty, but one of the biggest things that I've understood that people don't understand, people are like, well, if you're going to get high, you're going to Cheech and Chong, just be whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're going to veg out and fucking, I said, no. I said, I know a lot of people who are very productive on cannabis. Like, you know, I was like, you're not understanding. I said, when you deal with mental illness, mental health, body aches and pains on a regular basis, when you medicate yourself and you're not hurting anymore, guess what? You're more productive. You can get more things done. You can get more tasks done that need to be done on a regular basis. I said, you guys don't understand. I said, when you deal, I mean, we're human beings. We deal with aches. We deal with pains. We deal with mental health. Whenever those things are flaring up and acting up, we don't want to work. We don't want to do shit because we're trying to deal with the pain. We're like, this hurts. That sucks.
That's when we pull the covers over our head and we spend 3 days sleeping and we never take a shower. We don't put our feet on the ground and we're not eating. And that kind of thing, that anxiety, that procrastination, that almost paralysis, it debilitated me for years. I couldn't get out of it.
No, absolutely.
And you know, on what you were saying about cannabis, it's funny because I take hundreds of milligrams a day of cannabis orally. And then I don't know how much I vape. And when people are like, oh, I can't take that much cannabis, I got to work. I'm thinking, if I didn't take that much cannabis, I wouldn't get anything done. I mean, I am one of the most highest functioning, highly productive people I know. I am going nonstop. I have a for-profit. I have a nonprofit. I have a podcast. I'm always helping at least half a dozen people. I'm always on the road. I'm always in the car. I medicate at night when I need to get going, when I need to medicate in the morning before I start my day hours ahead of time. I have to get stuff in there. Otherwise, in the middle of the day, man, I'll just shut down. I'm not safe for people. I'll be honest.
Oh,
If I'm not
absolutely.
medicated, I'm not safe for people. You might as well just close me off and leave me over here, because somebody's going to get hurt, either emotionally or verbally. Somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Like, it happens. I don't mean to do it. I'm not that guy. But when I'm not medicated, this stuff in here, it takes over. It completely takes over.
No, absolutely, absolutely, bro. That's the biggest thing. That's why they have different strains. This is what I always try to educate people on during the show. It's like, you got to understand the strain. You got to understand the terpene profile. You got to understand if there's any CBD in it, if there's CBG. I mean, the biggest thing when it comes to smoking flower, or any kind of rosin, or anything that you want to get into, you have to understand, what is it made up of? What terpenes are in it? How do those terpenes interact with what you're taking? You know?
How do we get people to stop buying medicine based on the THC percentage, since
No
it really
shit.
has very little to do with the medicinal benefit of what you're using? You should be looking at your terpene profile and your ratio of cannabinoids, not the amount of THC. But see, that's part of the misinformation and the stigma that, but that's one of the reasons people think veterans just want to get high. Oh, you guys just want to smoke weed and get high. Well, that's because people run around talking about, I got the highest THC.
I don't care. I don't care. What is a terpene profile? What kind of terpenes do you got in it?
How many minor cannabinoids I got in there?
Right. How many cannabinoids do I have in this? Is there any cannabinoids in it? What are we looking at?
Spectrum?
What are you doing? What are you serving me? You know, when you go in there and you go to some of these places and they're like, I'm like, you guys,
like, oh, this one has 34%. You want the 34%? I'm like, oh my gosh.
I don't want, you know, and it's funny because, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I work with a sponsor, Raffle 180, and they one of the side things is hemp flower, and you understand doing in what you're doing with CARMA CORPS, right? Is the hemp flower side, right? Understanding that, I had found a perfect blend. I didn't write it down like a dumbass. I did not write this down. I had found a perfect blend of CBD flower that I got from Empire Genetics and THC flower that I got as well. I had found the perfect blend. It was euphoric. Like, I couldn't even explain it to people. I was like, it felt like I was 8 years old again. I had no pain, no anxiety, no depression. I was just like, let's go do something. I want to get out. I want to go have fun. I want to run. I want to play. I want to go and do stuff, because I wasn't in pain. You weren't taxed. Physically. I wasn't attacked by my own demons, you know? And I tell people, and I told my brother this, he passed away. His demons got him. His demons got the best of him. He was an Army veteran and a Navy vet. He did both Army and Navy. And his demons attacked him, and it took him from me. But he told me before he passed away, he said, I found it. I said, what'd you find? He said, I found that perfect euphoric blend. I was like, I hope you wrote it down, brother. He's like, I didn't write it down. I was like, I was going to write it down, and then I got high. Then I got high because it's hard to find that perfect, because you got to figure out, do I want to do 50-50? Do I want to do 60-40? Do I want to do higher CBD to THC ratio, or what it's hard. Yeah. And I'd mention that to your viewers. So all the medical patients out there using high THC, get some of that Raffle 180 hemp and blend some of that in with the full THC. You won't have a bunch of little roaches around you can't finish. You won't be over high when you get done. You'll feel more physically relaxed. You'll have less pain, less inflammation, and you'll be more clear-headed and focused, and your medicine will last longer. Just add some in there. Absolutely, brother. That's the biggest thing. That's why I try to educate and advocate. Yeah, sprinkle it in. You absolutely have to advocate. Don't get me wrong. Are there days where I just want to be fucking blazed and just don't want to do shit? You're absolutely right. There are days like that. There are days that I'm just like, if it's a Saturday and I don't have anything else to do and all I want to do is just blaze all fucking day, trust me, I'll go to the higher THC and I'll just smoke just to be there. But you got to understand the functionalities. We all have jobs. We all have lives. We all have things that we have to do. Like Joshua said, he has a nonprofit. He has a for-profit. He has a hemp farm. He has things he has to do. So you have to function. So guess what? How do I function? I find the perfect blend. I find the THC to CBD ratio to give me that perfect blend so that I can function on a regular basis. Hey, and on top of that, eat to treat. Don't smoke all your medicine. That's not eat it. Is when you take it and you eat it and your liver breaks it down and it metabolizes. Oh man, first to 11 hydroxy THC,
gives you 5 times the bioavailability, makes your medication last longer. These are ways you can get it in there and effectively, efficiently use the medicine. You smoke all day when you get home if you want, but people need to be taking some capsules and eating some
absolutely.
RSO.
For me personally, I was starting to use RSO oil, and I find a perfect. I have a processor here in Oklahoma. He does strain specific RSO oil.
Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
RSO by far the best medicinal product on the market.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
It's like I tell you, he breaks it down. Here are the terpenes in it. Here's the CBD ratio. Here's the THC ratio. He breaks it down and to tell you, here's the medicine. This is the medicine there's all the medicine that's in here.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, when you just put a small drop, put it on a cracker, stick it under your tongue, let it absorb into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
You want to feel good for the next 8 hours?
RSO capsules.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You actually go in there and you can actually go and find the medicinal benefits of it. And this is the biggest thing, guys. This is what I tell you guys. For you guys that are watching, understanding, educating yourself on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of us veterans, we don't like to read. We don't like to do this. We like to listen to and we like to hear the medicinal benefits, somebody telling us the medicinal benefits. But I tell you guys, take what I say with a grain of rice. Go and study it yourself. Find out, can this work for me? Can it not work for me? There's a lot of vets. There's a lot of vets out there. How many pharmaceuticals are you on right now? Think about it.
Yeah.
You know.
So just for the record, I quit all the pharmaceuticals from the VA in February of 2018. I have not been on pharmaceuticals for over 3 years now. And all I've done is cannabis and hemp. And I can't imagine ever going back to taking prescriptions. I'm not saying some people don't need some prescriptions.
No, and some people do. I mean, but yeah,
like you're saying.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I said there are some medications that some of us do need to be on. There are some that we need on. There's some Western medicine. Don't get me wrong. There's good Western medicine out there, and some of us do need to be on it. But if you're taking, like I said, working with the sponsor, Rafa 180. She works with a lot of doctors, a lot of people who went to school and got their doctor's degree, and a lot of doctors. And they told her, you know, understanding the medicinal benefits of CBD and how it can help, that it's crazy to see these doctors advocating for it. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we need, are doctors advocating for medicinal cannabis and medicinal CBD. And when they tell you, once you start taking 3 or more medications, they said, honestly, the medications don't even work anymore because now you're
they're contraindicating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you got our veterans who are on 6 and 10 and 12 medications, and their livers just look like Swiss cheese. Their kidneys are shutting down.
Their esophagus and everything. It's just their colons and everything, your whole intestine.
They got ED, their blood pressure's through the roof. They're getting migraines. They can't eat. They can't sleep. Whatever. It's tragic.
And trying to understand that, and that's the biggest thing. This is why I tell people, I said, if you're hesitant to try cannabis, if you're hesitant to try a CBD product, do some research, find out what can it do? Where can it help? Do you suffer from high blood pressure medicine? Do you understand if you get on a good CBD product that can bring your blood pressure down and get you off that blood pressure medication?
I did. I quit mine as soon as I got off of the opiates and the benzos, which was a contraindication of my medicine. It runs a little high now, 130 over 85, but I'd rather do that and eat right and not take any pharmaceuticals, because I think it's really easy for our brothers and sisters to want to go, oh, I'll just take the pills. You know, that's the easy way.
Right.
And cannabis, some of these pills take 30, 60, 90 days. And then they want you to come back and they're going to test your blood. If I give you some CBD gummies right now, in 30 minutes, you're going to be like, man, we need to go somewhere and do something. I ain't staying up in here all day. Anxiety. Who's got anxiety? I'm out.
I'm ready to go do something. No, absolutely.
I'm out. Let's go ride. I want to ride
absolutely.
out. And start out with CBD. If you're intimidated by THC, pick up a good quality CBD gummy from Rafa 180. Try some tincture drops at night. Because I'll tell you what, I didn't realize what I was taking when I found CBD gummy at the gas station. But when it hit me, and to be honest, I swore to myself that when it hit me, I was like, man, this is too good to be true. Like, we're going to find out one day. We're going to find out one day this is like spice or something. They're going to be talking about how this stuff's going to kill you and stuff. So I'm eating them and I'm thinking, but if I can eat one of these gummies twice a day, I don't ever have to take Xanax again. And that was amazing to me, you know, that you could do something so simple, go down, get a gummy. And since then, I'll share another story with you. My first indoor grow that I had last year, when I was building it out, the guy who owned the facility called in a friend to come and help do some of the plumbing and irrigation. Well, that guy, turns out, was talking to me about what I'm doing. And I said, yeah, well, the reason I do it is because I want to help people get off pharmaceuticals. You know, I suffered from a lot of anxiety. I got on CBD gummies and they saved my life. And he's like, oh, yeah, my daughter's really bad. She's on 24-hour watch. Somebody from the family's always got to be there with her. We had to bake her after. Her husband doesn't know what to do. She's got 2 kids. And I was like, well, what is she on? This medicine, this medicine, this medicine. He's like, yeah, she's on all those. I'm like, yeah, that's why she's suicidal. And he's like, well, what should I do? And I'm like, you should give her CBD gummies. I have some here. I'll give them to you. Well, so does she stop taking the meds? I said, no, she just starts taking the CBD gummies. Don't change anything else.
Yeah. And
so he's like, okay. So I gave him some, and he came in the next day and I said, hey, Jim, how'd it go? How'd they work? Well, I don't know. I gave them to her and she took a couple and she said she thinks they might have helped. And I thought, well, that's good. Maybe she thinks it might work. I said, well, that's good. You know, keep it up. Just make sure she takes them every day. So I saw him 3 days later or 2 days later, like 3 days has passed. He comes in and I said, hey, Jim, how's your, oh my God, he stops me. You won't believe it. She sent my wife home last night. She was up this morning cooking breakfast. When I got there, she was choking. And he's like, she's got her step back. And I almost started crying. I'm about to
it does. It brings tears to your eyes because you're like,
I said,
this works.
I said, that's got to feel fantastic. And he goes, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I said, well, what don't you believe? You see it. And he's like, yeah, but they're just gummies. And I was like, yeah. And they just saved your daughter's life. And he's like, well, you know, I'm really glad to find another veteran that I can trust. And I was like, I didn't even know you were a veteran. And he's like, yeah, I did 23 years in the Air Force. And I was like, well, shit on me, you know, like, so it's funny how life works, you know. Absolutely. That guy buys them from me now 500 at a time in bulk. He can't imagine his family running out of them. He says his daughter went off the meds because she didn't need them. And now she just does the CBD gummies and she's back to raising awesome. 2 children and being a wife again and a daughter. And it's just, that's the whole reason why I slave and labor over what I do, why I spend all my time and all my money putting it into CARMA Corps to try to give veterans access to not just the experience, but the information that's out there that, oh, hey, by the way, not only can it save your life and help you take control of your healthcare, it can also help you gain personal freedom and financial independence as self-sufficient as a small business owner.
Absolutely.
Not a bad plan.
No, absolutely, brother. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, are we in it for profit? Absolutely. We have to, everybody has to make money, right? It's a living. We all have to, we all have to survive. Pay the bills. We got to pay the bills somehow. We got families, we got bills, we got, you know, car notes, mortgages and all this stuff. And but I think the most rewarding part is, like you said, when he said she got her life back. She's up and running. And that right there, I mean, things like that, like for Rafa 180, we've had stories like that. I mean, trust me, does cannabis heal all? No. The CBD heal all? It doesn't. No. But those that it does help, that's the reward for us. It's like, wow, like you got your life.
It will improve your quality of life at the very least.
At the very least, it will improve your quality of life. Absolutely. You know, and that's the biggest thing that we want to do is try to help you find your purpose again. Because I mean, that's the biggest struggle. I mean, big for us. Like, I mean,
how do we do that?
Look at the shirt, right? 22 a day. 22 a day is what we're saying, right?
Hey,
22 a day is what
50 a day. We're losing more at home than we lose overseas. Every single day.
Every day. And this is 22 a day. This is not talking even about the opioid overdose that we have on top 30. Of it. That's another 35 veterans on top of the 22. Yeah. And then we're not even talking for the people who aren't even collecting a disability check. You know what I'm saying? No. So
we're the ones who got dishonorably discharged because they did something in service as a reaction to PTSD and completely lost their benefits and status as a veteran.
Absolutely. We're not talking about those guys. We're not talking about the bad conduct discharges, the dishonorable discharges. We're not talking about any of those people, right?
No, victims of the system. We're talking about the actually honorable discharge veterans who still are not even cared about.
Who aren't even cared about, right? And it sucks. And it's heartbreaking to see this. But what is it, you guys, for you guys that do follow me, that do follow Joshua over here with his programs and what he's doing? What is it? If you guys, do you guys believe in it or do you not believe in it? Do you have brothers and sisters who are completely opposed and against the medicinal benefits? If they are, what are you doing to advocate, saying, dude, you need to get off the benzos, the Xanax, the freaking opioids, all the opioids, the VA, the gabapentin, you know what I'm saying? I tell my boss right now. So right now I self-identified and I told the boss, hey, yeah, I use THC. Why? Because it helps me, because guess what? The government put shit in my head and created who I am today. I joined the military at 17 years old. I was a child when I joined the military. I deployed to Iraq twice before the age of 25. Like, I'm telling you, and you're telling me.
You were programmed.
I was programmed to fuck shit up and hurt people is what I was programmed to do. Fix shit, break shit, you know?
I was just talking about that with someone right now. I have another friend who a veteran I'm dealing with right now. He actually sought help at the Bay Pines VA hospital for suicidal tendency. He was there 3 weeks and they kicked him out because he was disruptive, because he called for a therapist at 6 p.m. and they're like, this is a 9 to 5 facility. You'll have to talk to somebody in the morning. So he called the suicide crisis line. And then next morning they called the hospital and was like, you got a guy in there calling the crisis line. And they're like, you can't call the crisis line. He's like, well, I needed somebody to talk to. Like, he's making legitimate concerns known at this institution. So they kicked him out. And I was talking to him. So I went and got him and took him in and helped him find somewhere to go to be with another veteran, because he was going to be alone on the streets. This is what's happening in the VA system.
Right.
These people are actively seeking help, and sometimes they're not getting it.
Right. And it sucks. It sucks. You know,
it does suck.
I said, because don't get me wrong, there are some good VA hospitals throughout the country, but the bad ones are overarching those, and people are seeing, well, I'm not getting the fucking help I need. I'm not getting this. I'm not. Why? Why are you not getting the help you need? You know?
And we were talking the other night. I was saying, back up to what you said, is that training, that programming we have, one of the problems that I'm sure he's going through as a Ranger, and that I went through. I enlisted as Airborne Ranger to go to battalion on MOS. There's a certain amount of severing from emotional state that happens in the military, that when you go through certain things like he's been through, that there's a part of your emotional psyche that is severed. It's not coming back. And when you have something like that, when you have a deep-seated trauma like that, and an emotional severing, where for your own sake of survival, you have to cut ties with your ability to connect emotionally with people and with death and with loss. Then when you get discharged, it's not like they just turn that back on. Like, oh, we're going to reconnect you emotionally, right? Oh, no, you got your papers here. You can have your emotions back. There you go. Good luck. You still have all of that stuff is severed, right? So until we can get back to figuring out what makes us happy, what we want to do, who we want to be, who we are, who we were before we got programmed.
Right.
Any of that.
No, absolutely.
We have to reconnect with ourselves and be willing to be emotionally vulnerable and be hurt and be pained.
And it sucks. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? I just talked about this. I talk about this a lot on my episodes and stuff. I said, you got to figure, when you go to boot camp, however long your boot camp is, I mean, for the Marine Corps, it's 13 weeks, but whatever, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is, you go to boot camp. And then for the Marine Corps, you go to MCT. So it's more combat training, which is another 2 weeks long on top of the 13 weeks. So now you're looking at 15 weeks. Then you got to go to MOS school. You go to tech school. You go to your job school, which can be another 12 weeks to a year and a half. And then after that, you go to the fleet. You go active duty to be with everybody else. So you just spent the past year and a half learning how to be a soldier, a Marine, a seaman, whatever it is. Intensely programmed into it, right?
Programmed.
And then you do it for 4 years, 14 years, or 40 years.
Or
and
20 years, yeah.
When it's time to come out, bye. Go be a civilian again.
Very interesting to me that the military isn't required to create a deprogramming.
Right.
That is piggybacked on the transition from military service back into civilian service, that teaches you how to connect with people, how to be emotionally available, how to be present and aware.
Right.
You know, because
and that's our struggles, man, is that we are not emotionally there. I mean, I've been married for 21 years by the grace of God.
We're not present.
By the grace of God, my wife has
present.
been with me for 21 years by the grace of God, because that's one of the biggest struggles. She tells me, she's like, you are not emotionally here. I said, I know, and I don't know how to be. I'm trying to learn how to be emotionally available for you, to be here for you. Because I mean, with relationships, with friendships, with learning friendships and stuff. I mean, you're a brother. We can relate. We can talk. We know with other brothers and sisters, we know we can talk. We don't have to be emotionally available for each other.
No,
we know we're here for each other. We get it. We understand. Yeah. But for our spouse, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, whatever it is, our bosses, co-workers, no, you look at them, you're like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not doing that. You're doing it wrong. You know, you're doing it wrong. We're not doing it that way.
We would like to give a huge thanks to Rafa 180. Rafa 180 offers pure medicinal CBD and products made locally. They walk alongside individuals to achieve a healthy lifestyle with options needed by each person. You can learn more about them on Facebook at Rafa CBD, their website www.rafa180.com, or email at rafacbd@gmail.com. They truly believe your journey matters.
Yeah, sometimes I volunteer at my farm. I have the owners of my farm and the places where I volunteer. I have volunteers come in and they're like, well, you know, I told them to do something. And I'm like, they're not going to listen to you. Like, these people, you know what they've been through? They're not going to take direction from somebody when they're volunteering. They're just here to do stuff. Like, they know what they want to do. They're not micromanageable. These are the wrong people for that.
No,
you're not paying them enough to micromanage them. They're volunteers.
No, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's insane. It's insane though. But I mean, it's like you said, there needs to be a time where they can recalibrate us, burn that shit back together to be emotionally available, to be able to relate to people again.
And here's one thing our brothers and sisters can do to help jumpstart that process. And this is something that works for me when I work with other veterans, is we have to create an emotional safety net for our brothers and sisters, that when they're struggling and they come to us, we can't mock them. It can't be all suck it up, you're a pussy, you know, don't be a squid. Like, there has to be a serious recognition of the mental health challenges our brothers and sisters are going through, because I think sometimes we forget everything that we've been through and survived, and that we come back to this world and we don't really have a lot of places it's okay not to be okay, right? Everybody wants you to be okay. Whenever you walk in, the first thing you say is, oh, how are you doing? Are you okay today? You know, like, no, I'm not okay. Today's a shitty day. I'm going to be here all day. I'm not going to be okay probably for any of it. And I'm still going to do my job. And as long as that's not harmful to other people, there needs to be a place where people can not be okay and actually get the love and the support they need to get out of the comfort zone and find something new that may actually improve their life, you know?
No, absolutely, brother. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I try to advocate for, dude. Mental health, right? We all know, we all struggle with mental health, you know what I'm saying? And that's not something to joke about. It's really, no. I mean, I hate when I open up Facebook or TikTok or whatever the fuck whatever you get on, whatever your social media platform is that you get on a regular basis. And you're like, my brother took his life. My sister took her life. And you're like, what was it? What was that last final drop that you said, fuck this, I don't want to do it no more? Because I mean, as veterans, we don't like to reach out. We don't want to reach out to each other. We don't want to say, hey, brother, I'm having a bad day. That's
why we got to actively buddy check each other.
We have to, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people, I said, it's hard. Is it hard to buddy check? Yeah, it's fucking hard, because we have our lives. We're doing our things. We do our things on a regular basis. And is it hard to be like, but whenever you got a moment, there's always a time in the day where you're like, okay, I ain't got nothing going on right now. Let me reach out to somebody. Hey, brother,
pick up the phone and just randomly text somebody.
Randomly
text a different person sometimes. I'm just like, hey, what's up? You all right? You need something?
Absolutely. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they'll be like, oh no, I'm fine. And we know, I mean, we're not going to say that we're not doing good today. We're not doing good, but I guarantee you that one time that you're like, dude, I got some time, man. How you been? I just want to talk to you. Just want to touch base with you, see how things are going. And you can never know. That could be that one time, but like, damn, Somebody thought about me
Yeah.
today. You know what I'm saying? Regardless
For
if they
sure.
wanted to tell you something was wrong or not, you're like, that guy, somebody was looking out for me. Somebody was checking in on me, you know?
Yeah. Even if you didn't share, you're still like, somebody thought of it. So I'm not alone. I'm not forgotten. Right.
No,
Somebody
absolutely.
remember.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
brother. So with you, since you've gotten out, like you said, you run a podcast called what? Wellness Pep Talks, right?
Wellness Pep Talks. We do it at high noon on the last Wednesday of every month. Me and I had a co-host, Tracy David. We did the show for a little over a year. Last year I did it every week. This year I got really busy and could only do it once at the end of each month. And then we plan on keeping them going at the end of each Wednesday. I do that as a way to have patient education panels, pep talks, patient education panels talking about wellness resources. So pretty much we feature anyone who can offer a non-pharmaceutical treatment option to the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you get into that? What made you want to strive to be able to provide that kind of service?
So when I got into the cannabis space after becoming newly freed from pharmaceutical dependence, I ran for mayor of the city where I grew up. I didn't win. I only got like 23% of the vote, but it was still a really amazing experience.
That's good though, man. You got votes. You know what I'm saying?
Against the woman whose grandparents founded the city where I was running. So,
that's not bad, bro. That's not bad at all.
She was going to run uncontested, and I figured the people deserved a choice, and 23% of them thought I would do a pretty good job. So
that's not bad.
It's good.
That's awesome.
It's
that's
good.
awesome, right? That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah. Super high class community, very expensive, $800,000 median house price, you know, $16 million budget for the city and 2 square miles, you know, so it's a nice place.
It's a nice place. That's a nice place.
Shout out Holmes Beach. That's where I grew up. And so after I lost the election, I had actively been talking with Joshua Luttrell, shout out to Veterans for Cannabis. And he asked me to go to a conference with him that was going to be in Sarasota. He was PCSing. His wife had to stay in PAC. She couldn't attend. He gave me the ticket. I met him there in June of 2018. And immediately I was in campaign for mayor at the time. And so I met Joshua Luttrell. I became full-on advocate. I helped create the first website for the Veterans for Cannabis Foundation. Was the director of web development, became the director of outreach, started a Can Heal program where we would get veterans networked with doctors for free to get them their medical cards. And then I had the election, and I didn't win. So I just full on poured myself into Veterans for Cannabis, spending all my money and time going to events, educating other veterans, getting them access, offering CBD products. And after being in this space for about a year, I started a for-profit company called Cansultants, cansult.us, CANSULT.us. And we focus on helping farmers who are getting into the hemp game create compliant agricultural networks. We get them their permits. We set up their compliance testing with the lab. We do their articles of incorporation so that they are compliant with the state of Florida, like all these little things.
And a lot of people don't understand that, the articles of incorporation, all that stuff. That's a lot.
Yeah, your bylaws.
You start getting into it. Yeah, all your bylaws and everything.
Yeah. And this is really so that you as a veteran, if you think, oh, I want to go make hemp t-shirts. Great. Well, you don't know, you're not a paralegal, you're not a lawyer. So rather than having to learn all the stuff you don't need to know, why don't we just pair you with our Air Force veteran and his wife, who's a paralegal, because he's a lawyer, and they can set up your small business. They can handle all your compliance. They can serve as your registered agent. They can be your secretary. They can be your general counsel. And now guess what? Anything that happens, you're covered. You're just going to keep looking forward and go straight ahead and go faster that way. Stay in your lane, do what you do.
Absolutely.
And so we tried to get them to where they could be self-sufficient. So we have the Cansultants company that creates these little networks for people, creates these permits, gets them their business started, and then networks them with experts. And so I was networking with all the experts in the cannabis space. I make referrals daily to people in my network. And then I just decided that I was doing everything, but the for-profit side really didn't do it for me. So I started doing everything I do at the for-profit in the nonprofit CARMA CORPS, where we help give veterans access to the hands-on experience of cultivating hemp while thinking like an entrepreneur so they can bootstrap that small business.
Oh, absolutely.
we can do for like under $500 right now, just to get them started to get them completely set up and compliant. And then from there, they can build on it. And so I really enjoy that part of it because I like empowering other people to become self-sufficient. If I'm training you in this field of work, there's no reason why you can't go leave and become an employer instead of an employee. And
no, absolutely.
And employers have way more freedom, way more flexibility. And as a veteran, we are better suited to be employers than we are employees. And so a lot of times I don't think that their veterans are very aware of just how effective of a leader they are and how well suited they are for entrepreneurship.
Right. Absolutely. No. And like you said, whenever you're teaching them how to start a farm and how to grow and I think the biggest thing is once you show them what can happen when they put hard work and dedication and have a purpose of living, when they can see the flower, when they can see the product growing because of them, that provides that purpose that we need. Why am I here? Well, you're here because look, these plants need you. If these plants, if you're not here, these plants can't grow and you can't provide medicine to people who need the medicine.
And there's a therapy from caring for the plants. There is a therapy from creating a bond with the medicine you're going to use later that makes it really meaningful. And I like to call that therapy, the therapy through the cultivation of
right? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that term you're using, that therapy. I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah. And so I really want to focus on them just learning how to go home and put a couple plants in their house, and not just cannabis or hemp plants, but like cucumbers, tomatoes, antioxidants, herbs, basil, rosemary, garlic. Like in a small tent, they can grow one or two of each of these plants. And next thing you know, you're going to be giving stuff to your neighbors. You guys are going to be bartering food. Like it's just a whole way back to becoming
self-sufficient, right? Self-sufficient. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
No, brother, it's freaking awesome. I mean, that's the biggest thing. What I like to see is that you yourself, you found your purpose after serving. Like you said, you were on the pharmaceuticals. You served this country, and you were struggling. You knew you were struggling. You're like, what the fuck is my purpose? What can I do? Why do I need to still be here? There's a reason why I'm here, and what is my purpose again? And here it is.
Oh, that's what you were talking about, the pep talk. So after I did the nonprofit, I started getting that set up. I thought, well, that's great, but how can I bring all the information I currently already have and all these experts and all these doctors and all these people that I'm with who have all this amazing information? How can I get it into the hands of the people I know? And I thought, well, we're going out to these events in Florida, and the events in Florida are like, oh, here we have a speaker. Now they're done. Go back there and sign up for your card. It's a big marketing event. So I thought, why not have a patient education panel talking about all of the wellness resources currently available? And we'll just go ahead and call it a pep talk, a wellness pep talk, patient education panels. So that's just how it came.
That's awesome.
So, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things is to actually be on the podcast and be interacting with my other guests is really one of my favorite things to do.
No, and it's great. It's great. That's exactly why I do my show. That's why I do the Stone Vet, because it's my therapy. Like I told people, I said, my therapist recently retired. She retired and she told me she didn't want to give me another therapist because she was like, if you need another therapist, you need to go through the PTSD program again. I was like, I've already been through it and I fucking hated it. And I'm not going back through it again. You know what I'm saying? Just for them to assign me a counselor or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And I was like, fuck that, you know, but I was like, but she was a great therapist, and it's hard to find a good therapist. It's hard to find a really good therapist. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking hard. It sucks trying to find one. You know, my dad, he's a retired Army vet, Afghan war vet, and he deals with shit on a regular basis. And I told him, I said, have you found a counselor? He said, why? So they can fucking laugh at me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, or telling me, oh, this is how you should deal with it. And I was like, it sucks, dude. It really does suck.
I fired my last one because she said she didn't agree with cannabis because she wouldn't have recommended a martini in the evening either. And I was like, you're ignorant. You're ignorant. The reason why we got guys shooting themselves in the parking lot.
Absolutely. That's at the VA. At the VA. Shooting themselves in the parking lot at the VA. At the VA.
Yeah. You know? By the way, it saved my life. I've been on it 2 years and I don't take any prescriptions. Oh, I don't agree with it because I wouldn't recommend a martini either. I'm like, you're stupid. Right. You're just ignorant. You don't want to know the truth. You're not educated. You're not educated. And that's the biggest thing. And she doesn't want to hear it. She's
bye. Okay.
No interest in trying to hear the facts. Don't want to hear my success story. I'm like, I think I need a new therapist.
I need a new therapist. I'm done
So
with
then
you. I don't.
the last time she called me on the phone, she's like, hello. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, hi, it's Mrs. Lopez. And I said, okay, how are you? Good. So how are your new medications working? And I said, I think you have the wrong patient. And she said, what? And I said, do you even know who you're talking to right now? Because I don't take medications anymore. Oh, I had the wrong chart. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You got the wrong patient. I need a new doctor. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I don't want to continue this call. I want a new provider. You don't even know who the fuck you're talking to.
Right.
And your first question is, are the medications working? You are not the provider for me.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's fucking ridiculous. It's stupid. Like for me, like I mentioned before, you know what I'm saying? I self-identified. I work in the federal government right now. And like we all know, cannabis is still federally illegal because the federal government put the stigma on it. Right. And that's what we're fighting for.
Because they lied.
Because they lied, because they didn't, and if you look into it, we can get into some conspiracy theory stuff if you want to look into it, but you can call it conspiracy theories, but if you actually look into it, you'll be like, oh, well, that makes more sense as to why hemp is outlawed, why cannabis is outlawed. You know what I'm saying? But I self-identify. I work for the federal government. They were putting me in for a clearance that I wasn't required to have. And during that clearance process, if you guys have ever filled out a clearance process, one of the last questions they ask you, do you use an illegal substance? So I asked my security manager, what is classified as an illegal substance in accordance to this documentation? He's like, well, THC. I was like, well, yes. I use THC on a regular basis. They said, how much THC do you use throughout the week? I said, probably 100 grams. I use a shitload. I smoke every fucking day. I use a bunch. I couldn't tell you. If you want to tell me, probably an ounce a week, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? On a regular basis, I smoke just so I can deal with the ignorance that's in this office. Because if I didn't smoke, I would be
just to come to work. I medicate just to come to
work.
Building.
You know what I'm saying? And so
you're welcome.
Because I self-identified, they put me on probation for the next 2 years, where they want to drug test me every 2 weeks for the next 2 years to make sure that I don't use cannabis. And I said, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So I've been without my medicine for a year now. I'm at a year without my medicine, and it sucks, dude. But you know, it started taking a toll. It started taking a toll on my family and my wife. So the doctors so at one point I had three therapists and a psychologist. So I'm down to just a psychologist now. And the psychologist a couple of months ago told me, he said, I need you to go do some blood work. I said, why you need me to do some blood work? He said, well, one of the medications that you're on destroys your liver. I said, well, the funny thing is that I'm not taking any of your medication that you're giving me, because I'm against pharmaceuticals. I hate pharmaceuticals. But my wife was telling me, like I said, I've been with my wife for 21 years. I've been blessed for the past 21 years to be with the same woman. You know what I'm saying? And so I told her, I said, I will do whatever it takes so that I don't lose this marriage. And so they got me on a anti-anxiety medication. I take half a pill a day. And has it been working? I don't know. My wife says that I seem to be in a better mood. So I just take half the pill. I just take half a pill every day. And I did that just for my marriage because like I said, I got 1 more year, or if I find a new job. Right now, I just interviewed for a position. I'll hear about it here in a couple of weeks to see if I did get the position. Because if I did get the position, then I can go back to smoking weed again. I can go back to my medicine. You know what I'm saying? You can
go back to living right.
I can go back to living right and getting off of that. But like I tell you guys, I said,
it's so funny though. They're worried about your liver, but they won't let you take cannabis instead of the pills. But they care so much.
They care so much about you, right? And I tell them, I said it's a funny part, because as a federal employee, I can go have about 4 beers at lunch if I wanted to have 4 beers at lunch and come back to work and be fine. But God forbid I go smoke a blunt in my car during my lunch period.
You need some Delta 8, bro.
Right. I got Delta. I you know what? I had a girl. She just sold her company. She started processing Delta 8 cartridges, and she sold the company. She made a good profit off of selling her company, and it was good. It's good stuff. I still got some in my closet right now. I still got flour. I got Delta 8. I got my RSO. It's all sitting there waiting for me. And I'm like, motherfucker, dude. I just look at. I go by and I'll just smell it and be like, damn, this smells so good. It smells so good.
Damn.
You know? But it sucks. It sucks. But you know what I'm saying?
And so that's exactly one of the things we need to advocate too, the workplace protections. You know, it doesn't make sense for you, if you're using it legally where you live, to be held to a higher standard than the rest of the people who are working in other states. You deserve to have this. If you're able to come to your job on cannabis and do it effectively, And I'm not sure why there should be a problem.
That's what I tell people. I said, you know what's crazy is that when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a mechanic because I was an engineer and we worked on heavy equipment. I had a mechanic. He had the craziest fucking shakes, right? It's because he wasn't drinking. As soon as he started drinking, the fucking shakes went away, and he was the best damn mechanic I had. Why? Because he wasn't shaking no more, and he could function. He was like, I'm a functioning drunk. I said, when I come to work drunk, I'm a functioning drunk, and sure as shit, he was a functioning drunk.
Functioning alcoholic, yeah.
Functioning alcoholic, and it sucks, dude.
Yeah.
But it sucks. But you're just like, you gotta take care of yourself. He had to take care of himself. He knew he had to have a couple of drinks before he came to work, because when he was turning those wrenches on them forklifts, and he knew those forklifts was carrying heavy equipment, he knew that that machine had to operate. He had to operate correctly.
But it's funny how people would just drink in the morning instead of quitting drinking altogether. You know,
altogether, right? Yeah, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy to see. And that's the biggest thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing is just advocating. Are you advocating? Are you an advocate for cannabis? Have you reached out to your senators? Have you reached out to the people to say, hey, what are we doing to get this legalized?
And advocate for yourself. A lot of veterans complain about the service they get at the VA, or how they were treated, or that they don't have their benefits, or that they're not getting disability. And yeah, you can go to the American Legion, you can go to the VFW, you can go to the DAV, but guess what? There are a bunch of veterans just like yourself who just simply started speaking up and going, hey, somebody needs to listen to me. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, at those organizations, the DAV, I went to the DAV here. So I just recently got my 100% disability. You know what I'm saying?
Congratulations, bro.
I've been fighting 11 years for it, and I finally got my 100%. But guess what? I said I had an advocate. I met him on Disgruntled Underground. He was out in Maine. He was another veteran, another Army vet out of Maine. He was a VSO. He got me to 90%, and he resigned because they were treating him bad. And he said, go find a VSO there in your city. He said, go talk to him. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll tell you if it's legit or not. So I met a guy here, like you said, at the DAV here. He's an Army vet who had his 100% because he knew how to play the system. He knew the wording. And the first visit he sent me to put me over 100%. And I was like, that's what it's about, man. I told him, I said, thank you for getting my 100%. He said, no, he said, that's what I'm supposed to do, is to help my brothers get their 100% that they've earned. And I said, that absolutely. So that's what he did. He helped me get my 100%. And now I sent everybody to him. And so he has an influx of veterans coming to him. Hey, what do I need? What do I need? And he's helping everybody, because guess what? He knows the wording. He knows the terminology. He knows what's required in order for you to get that 100%. And like you said, he's an advocate. He's speaking up for us. He's like, I know you guys are lying to him. This is what you guys need to do. And he knows how to write the documentation up and get it seen by the right people. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing about this. That's why I love doing my podcast. It makes my community huge. I have a huge community. You know what I'm saying? Meeting you with Vetrepreneur Tribe, meeting all these amazing people that say, hey, I have a podcast, and I'd love for you to be on my show. What? You have a podcast? I say it's not huge, but hey, guess what? I've gotten over 1,000 downloads now. I got over 1,000 downloads now, which was a huge success for me. I was like, hell yeah.
That's how it starts.
It starts small. Everybody has to start somewhere. And that's what I tell people. I said, don't get discouraged. You got to start with one download. It starts with one, dude. I said, these people who got 100,000 viewers or 100,000 this, they all started with one person that said, hey, I like this. And they shared it. And that's why I tell you guys, make sure you share this. Make sure you go out there and you share. You share with people you think it could benefit. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it's about. It's helping each other grow, brother.
Hey, speaking of benefits, I want to talk. I haven't talked about this with publicly yet, but something happened to me earlier this year that I'm currently fighting in the background, and I will share it on your show because I think it needs to be talked about. So I was 60% service connected, 50% for PTSD, 10% for chronic pain, kidney disease, kidney stones, hematuria. So earlier this year, the VA severed my disability for PTSD, accused me of fraud, and is now seeking $139,000 in damages for me for the 8 years I got disability.
You motherfuckers,
so
dude.
Here's what happened. When I ran for mayor, an Army veteran wrote an article about me that said I lied about my service, that I was only 15 in 91, that I could never have gone to Desert Storm, but I never claimed to go to Desert Storm. That was not my story. So they had to write a retraction. But the article caught the attention of Stars and Stripes, and somebody wrote an article about it, and then the VA investigated it, and then nothing happened. Well, then 2 years later, they decided to sever my disability on the accusation of fraud. But I contacted a local lawyer in Sarasota with SRQ Vets, William Stravinsky. He looked it up. He's like, they don't have any instance of fraud. They're simply just saying that you committed fraud, but they don't have anywhere documented that they can say you committed fraud or that you made a fraudulent statement. They're just saying they think you did. And so now I have to fight the VA to get my disability back. And now I have to sue the paper and the Army veteran who libeled me in print. So just because you get your disability, just because things happen, doesn't mean you won't have setbacks. Am I going to throw my hands up? No.
And give
Am
up?
I going to say, oh, well, you know, poor me? No. Facts, funny story. In 2020 or 2019, my ex-wife and I got a divorce. She relapsed on fentanyl and took off and totaled our car. We lost our house. And I wound up homeless. Now, I was still an advocate full-time. I was still running a for-profit company. I was now homeless and couch surfing at either my mom's or my aunt's or a friend's. And in the time I was doing that, I still had my disability. So what I did, instead of complaining about it, was I used the money I wasn't using for rent to pay for the nonprofit. And in December, while homeless, I filed my nonprofit. And in February, I paid for the 501c3 filing at the federal level. And then like in 90 days, I had my 501c3. And I could have been sitting there on my pity pot, pissing about being homeless. And instead, I took it as an advantage to reinvest other resources elsewhere to get more shit done.
Absolutely.
So you can always make an excuse or you can create a reason.
You found your purpose. You found your drive. You
Found
found
my
the reason
purpose.
what you needed to do.
You
There
can't be
is, brother.
stopped if you really want to do it. That's
Absolutely.
bullshit. Oh,
Absolutely
I can't.
not. You're your worst
you don't
enemy.
Want to. You don't. You don't want to, or you would do it.
Right. You're your worst enemy. And that's what you got to do is continue finding your purpose and finding out what you got to do.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of your head. Get out of here. Get out of your head. And like, it's like we were saying earlier, find a nonprofit in your area. It's like I tell you guys, I can't advocate for where you're at.
Volunteer.
I can't advocate for what state you're at. That's why I always tell you guys, go out to your community and find out what's out there that can help benefit you as the veteran, because there's other veterans in your area that need the help that you could provide.
Like you were just saying, the American Legions, the DAVs, the VFWs. You don't got to go down there and sit around the bar and get drunk or play poker. You can actually go down there and meet with other veterans who are having issues. Advocate for them. Be a junior service officer. Sign up at the Legion. Sign up at the DAV. Sign up at the VFW. Go be part of service again. Get on the board. Run for command. There's a ton of places you can be of service.
Things, absolutely. There's a ton of things, and like here in Oklahoma, like I said, I just had Linda Steele here, and she started her own nonprofit, Furnishing Fatherhoods. She always needs help. Like any nonprofits need help. They always need help. They always need volunteers. Find nonprofits in your area. I guarantee you, there's a veteran nonprofit in your area, regardless of what state you live in. All 50 states and the territories. I guarantee you, there's a veteran nonprofit there that could use your help.
Hey, especially if you're a veteran, you're on 100% disability. Your ass that should be clocking some hours somewhere every fucking week.
Right.
You should be every week just like, you know what? I don't have it that bad. I'm going to go help someone else who doesn't have it as good as me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about, is helping each other out, trying to educate people. Educate. Like I said, I just teamed up with Fully Baked Vets. If you're not familiar with Fully Baked Vets.
Yeah. Hey, where is DB at?
I think he's up
He's
on the
in Florida.
east.
I've seen his medical card, but I don't know where in Florida he is.
He is. I know Brian Haxton. You familiar with Brian Haxton? He's the founder of Fully Baked Vets. Him and DB are working together.
We need to get connected because I saw his Florida medical card. I know he's somewhere in the
He's
state.
here. No, he's in Florida. He's in Florida right now. He's traveling around advocating for Fully Baked Vets. He's got a huge project going on.
Where are you?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm in Oklahoma, where it's medicinally legal right now. They try to do recreational, but they turn that down real quick.
And you still can't use it.
And I can't use it. It's medicinal. I have my card and everything. You know what? My wife told me I just went through because my card just expired. And I went through and I I reapplied for it.
Certified.
And my wife's like, why are you reapplying for it? You can't use it. I said, because when I do get to use, I'm going to use it. I said, I don't want to lapse in it. I said, it's just like my concealed carry. I'm not lapsing in it. I'm going to renew it when it comes time, because
ain't having no periods. You're not.
So they can be like, no, he uses it. He keeps up to date with it. He's legal in his state.
Yeah.
I said, because I associate with people who happen to carry it. And guess what? When those guys don't have their cars and they decide to ditch it in my car, I can say, no, I got my card. It's mine. It's my cannabis. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's cheaper than a lawyer to get out of jail for going to jail for something stupid. It drives me fucking mad when veterans, when I'm in Florida, when I'm like, you have your card? I'm not paying for that shit. I'm like, it's like $225, the entire process, the state fee, the doctor fee, and half the time we can get your doctor fee covered. I'm like, why wouldn't you have the card? Oh, it's the principal. Oh, so you don't carry a concealed weapons permit? Well, of course I do. I have a concealed weapons permit, but you won't carry a marijuana card to carry your marijuana.
I just had somebody message me. And say, well, don't say you use cannabis. They said they'll take your guns from you. I said, no. I said, go educate yourself. Go educate yourself. That's like me saying,
have a driver's license. Yeah.
That's like me saying, I'm going to take your gun from you because you went to the bar. I'm not. No, fuck you, dude. Like, educate yourself real fast.
It's stupid. If you're going to have a driver's license, you might as well get the fucking medical card. Like, medical card, if you're going to comply with one law, you might as well comply with all of them.
With all of them, right?
You can drive without a license too, but nobody does it.
Right? Absolutely.
Don't smoke weed without a card.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, man. What do you want to say to how do you want to sign out? How do you want to sign out with everybody?
Me, I want to sign out by saying, hey, if you're a veteran, if you're not a veteran, no matter what, you're never alone. You can reach out to Juan. You can reach out to myself. You can go online. You can connect with somebody. So don't ever feel like you don't have resources, because we will always be there for you. And if we're not in your local area, we'll find someone local who can come and who can connect with you. I guarantee you, between our network, we got somebody in your area who can reach out to you. So at our nonprofit, we preach a very simple motto. It's give good, get good. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. Give them some grace, and find it in yourself to do something kind for someone else today, and get outside of yourself, because there's a lot more going on than you realize. And the world would be a better place if we just kind of try to help lift each other up. We all got to get through the same 24 hours together. Let's make it the best for each other.
Absolutely, bro. That's freaking awesome, man. I appreciate the hard work you're doing and what you're doing in our community, Lord. And what I always want to do is just bring awareness. You're in Florida. Mm-hmm. If you guys are out in Florida and you're listening to this show, check out Joshua. Joshua's got some amazing things going out there with his CARMA Corps and his consulting and everything else that he's got going on, advocating, helping our community have an understanding and finding their purpose again, man. I love what you're doing, Joshua. I love what you got going on out there, and trying to help raise awareness, help each other find a purpose again, man. That's what it's about, is growing our community and allowing our community to survive this 22 a day that we're losing. You know what I'm saying? Trying to help each other out, man. Like I tell you guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit it so you know exactly when these episodes come out, when they drop every Friday. Every Friday, midnight, my time, Central Time. So if you out on the East Coast, it's be at 1 a.m. and you out on the West Coast, you know it's gonna be like at 10 p.m. or whatever the case may be. These shows drop every Wednesday and every Friday. And I love doing this. Like I said, this is my therapy session. This is how I can get outside of my head and have a good day.
Hey, and thank you for having me on, Juan. Thank you
absolutely, brother,
for having me as a guest. It's an honor to be here. And I want to thank you for being on the front lines and putting this out there and getting this information into the hands of our brothers and sisters, man.
Absolutely, brother. And this is what it's about, is helping each other, making sure that we help each other find our purpose again. What is our purpose? What is our drive? How do we continue going through this life whenever we're struggling with the demons that are attacking us every day, man? Again, I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Rafa 180. Looking for a medicinal grade CBD, man, go over to rafa180.com. They have the best in the market. Like I tell you guys, if you guys are always sketchy about CBD, because trust me, there's a lot of CBD out there. And if you don't know what's in it, I probably wouldn't take it. What's great about Rafa 180, they have a QR code on every product. You scan that QR code, it pulls up all the lab testing that has been done on the product itself. You pull up that testing, it's going to show you exactly what's in that product, how it was processed, and everything else, man. I know a lot of people are scared. They don't know, is this CBD good for me? Is it not good for me? Sometimes you get some sketchy stuff, and you're just like, how was it processed? How was it pulled? How they pull the terpenes out of this thing? Definitely go over to Rafa 180. They have partnered with American Wholesale Hemp and Cantech Labs, only FDA regulated quality in the Midwest, coming from the only FDA regulated lab, man. Remember, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, enjoying this time with Joshua David Linney here from CARMA CORPS and Wellness Peptides.
Follow me on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Follow me on Facebook at Joshua David Linney and CARMA CORPS. And like us, love us, share us with your friends.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, man. And remember, here at the Stone Vet, we got your six.
They got us marching and stepping by my platoon, you get trampled. If it ain't raining, we ain't training. Nothing changed by complaining. I adapt and overcome. I make the best out of situations. I stay alert for my enemies trying to do me some harm. I fight for your freedom of speech and your right to bear arms. When I say I got your six, that means I got your back. But what else would you